morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Mickie Mueller, and you have tuned in to GEG Nebraska's December meeting. I'm one of the co-moderators. I'm a Google for Education certified trainer, champion, whatever they're calling us these days. I retired in May from Norfolk Public Schools, and so now I'm living the retirement life. And because I'm retired, I got to come to Columbus today
for the second time
to join Otis in person for our hangout today. So, Otis.
I'm Otis Pierce. I'm a professional development coordinator at ESU 7 in Columbus. I'm in my 14th year at the ESU. Tech integration, math, distance learning, media, everything. And one of the co-moderators of GEG Nebraska. And happy to have Mickie in Columbus for the second time this year.
Yeah, well, in December in Nebraska, you never know what you're going to get as far as weather, but it's supposed to be in the 50s today.
And a little bit windy, unfortunately.
Well, yes. So I'm going to have to go down and go home and take down some of my Christmas decorations so they don't blow away.
Yeah, that happens. So we want to welcome everybody, and we have some updates from the last time we met in September.
Yeah, September.
I think it's so long ago, but not so long ago. So a lot of things have happened in Google, and we'll get right into it.
Yes. So the first thing this was new to me. I missed this, and I think it's because I'm no longer attached to a district that maybe this kind of slipped by me. I don't know if you had seen this before I put it on the agenda, but I follow a group, K-12 Tech Pro. They're a group of guys who are tech coordinators. One of them I know is in Missouri, and they might all be in Missouri. I don't know, but they do a great job they do a podcast every week, I want to say, maybe every other week. Anyway, they do a great job of keeping, Google things and up to date. And this is where I had seen this. But did you know that Google is changing how it's licensing its products?
I had not seen that either. That's going to be a big change for districts as well, especially if you're on the paid for versions, whether you're doing the Plus or the teaching and learning add-on. That's going to make a difference for not only you, but for your districts.
Yeah, and the big thing is under the previous licensing model, you got one staff license for every 4 student licenses. So basically, you licensed your students, and you got staff licenses. Was that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. License your students. You get your staff one.
Yeah. And so you were basically paying for students, not necessarily for staff. Well, that's gone. That is no more. You now have to license every staff member and every student. So that's going to raise your cost right there, even without the pricing increases that they are talking about.
Yeah. And that price going up per user per year is going from $5 to $6. So for your staff, that's a jump of $6 for each staff member, plus $1 for all of your students, which in larger districts, that's going to be a little bit of a chunk of change for your districts to watch out for. So it'll be interesting to see how many stay with the Pro and keep going with it, and how many will just say, we'll go back to the regular.
Revert back to fundamentals. So Education Plus is going from $5 a year per user to $6 per year per user. And then the teaching and learning add-on is going from, yikes, $48 a year per user to $60 a year per user. So what's the difference between the two? Education Plus, you get everything. So, and I don't have the licensing information for standard in there. So I'm sure that that's probably a change as well. Mm-hmm. But standard basically gets you the security features. Education Plus gets you everything. And then teaching and learning gets you the teaching and learning updates, things in Google Classroom and those types of things. Those are the differentiations between those licenses. And then obviously fundamentals is the free version.
Yeah. So if you're on that or don't know if you are, talk to your tech coordinator. They'll probably know, and just maybe start those conversations and remind them, hey, this is going up if they haven't seen it come out yet either.
Yeah. And so I will include a link in there to K-12 Tech Pro. Actually did a blog post on this about the licensing changes. And so we'll include a link to that, as well as the support article, the Google support article, where it talks about these changes. But I'm assuming your Google admin already has received an email about this. And hopefully they've started crunching numbers because this is a big, for any district, this is big because, money's tight everywhere. So people, districts will have to make a decision.
Yeah. So that time's going to be coming to be able to look at.
All right. So, and I don't know about you, Otis, but I really feel like the only thing that Google has been working on is AI.
Yes.
Yeah, and
a lot of AI updates.
So we have a lot of AI updates. Maybe before we jump into that, and this is not something that I didn't put this on the agenda, but did you see that ChatGPT is now offering a version for teachers?
Yes, I have. And I got on that just so that I could test it out.
Did you? Okay. So
yes.
I don't have an education account anymore. So I would not be able to access this because you have to have a verified education account. But this will be free for teachers through 2027.
Yes. And teachers will need to, not only an education account, you will need to upload your school ID that has this year's date in it.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of their way of verifying that you are a member of that institution.
Right. And so this is kind of, ChatGPT has made a version of ChatGPT specifically for teachers.
And they're doing it very similar to what Gemini does, where anything used on the teacher version is not used to train the model. Now, having said that, still do not put any personally identifiable information in there for you or your students or whatever it is. Still very, very anonymized data or whatever you're putting in, even though it's not training it. They're at least not using it to train the model. I don't think some of the data privacy pieces that Gemini have are there yet either.
Was there a date that this offer was good until? Do you remember seeing that? I don't.
I don't remember seeing that when that came out, but when I saw it come across the NETA Tech coordinators, I hopped right on that just so that I had it. And things have happened, and I haven't had a chance to play it as much as I have wanted to.
Yeah. So do you also have an account with just ChatGPT?
Yes.
And paid account or a free account?
Free, and in ChatGPT, it allows you to hop back and forth between the two accounts.
If you're using the same email address to access it? Okay.
Correct. If you're using the same email address to access it, which I am through work, I can hop back and forth between the two accounts.
So maybe when you've had some more time to explore, you might be able to give us a rundown of the difference between
yes,
the teacher version versus the regular version.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's out there. Just wanted everybody to know that that's available. So let's go back to Google now. And we have a lot of AI updates. Like I said, I think that's all that Google has been working on. But one of the new updates is that you can now use Gemini in Chrome. We mentioned this that this was coming last time. You can now use Gemini in Chrome, their AI browsing assistant. This is available for Mac, Windows, and iOS. So if you're using a Chromebook, this is not available on a Chromebook as of yet. It's only available for users 18 and up. So remember, you had to specify the OUs where your students were versus your staff were. So your students cannot access this. And it's on by default unless you have Gemini disabled. So basically what this is the little Gemini sparkle icon up in the top of your Chrome browser. And you can click on that and Gemini is right there.
Yeah, and it's making sure that it's on your domain. If you don't see it, one, you might be on a Chromebook, as Mickie said, you might not be a Mac or a Windows machine. Or two, if it's there and you can't click on it, it may be turned off on your domain for that. So just be careful with that. It just allows you right in your web browser to ask Gemini to, hey, summarize this web page for me. Convert this web page into a presentation or an outline that I can use for a speech that is coming up, whatever it might be, so that you don't have to go right into Gemini to do it. You can do it right within your browser, and Gemini will help you out.
So the next thing we have is not necessarily AI related, but we're going to go there because it's next on our agenda. And that is you can now create vertical and square videos in Google Vids. Remember, last time we talked, we announced that Google Vids is available for everybody, which is exciting. And now you can actually change the format of the videos that you're creating in Google Vids. So you can make square, or if you're recording your video on your phone, you can use that vertical video in Google Vids.
That vertical video always brings me back to that vertical video syndrome.
Oh my God, yes, the puppets.
The puppets.
Yes.
It's just hilarious. Don't record in vertical. That's just hilarious. If you haven't seen it, vertical video syndrome with puppets, it's a good one.
Yes, that is a good one. I wonder if that's still out there.
I bet it probably still is.
It's very old.
It's very old, but it probably still is. But
yeah, that's right. That's right up there with Comic Sans.
Yeah. Mickey's favorite font. So yeah, Google Vids is great right there in your drive that you and your students can use to be able to create screencasts, create videos, and do a little bit of editing with it as well. I've used it a little bit to create some videos, put in closed captioning in. You can do a lot of different things right there in Google that helps out. Yeah,
I love Google Vids, and I talked about this last time. My video editor of choice is ScreenPal, which used to be Screencast-O-Matic. I've used them for probably 12 years, but Google Vids is right up there. There's some things that I can't do in Vids that I can do in ScreenPal, but I have been able to, all of the tutorial videos that I have done since I retired have been done in Google Vids.
Yeah, I kind of hop back and forth between Google Vids and Camtasia. Of course, Camtasia is a paid one, and it has some things, but I like the Google Vids, especially for the closed captioning, because it's a lot easier to put in there. Whereas in Camtasia, I have to go in and type in through the sets. It was some things in Google Vids. It's doing it for me there with some AI pieces. So
yeah. Okay, Google Keep has had an update. Your Google Keep reminders can now be saved to tasks, and then you can view those Keep reminders as your tasks in Calendar, which is a nice addition.
Yeah, which kind of also goes, I think you would put this on here as well, setting tasks time in your calendar as well. I think there's some time in your calendar you can block out for your task in your Google Calendar, if I'm remembering correctly.
I did have that on there. So when I do the agenda, I basically go back to the last time we met and go through all the Google updates from that point. So I probably should organize these better. Like, we should talk about all the AI stuff and all the Google Keep stuff, but that's how I do it. That's how it works in my mind.
But why? So, they like us jumping around.
Yeah. So yeah, but I do remember that I had, because that was a newer, right here. It's on page 2. Block off time to work on a task in Google Calendar. So that was a fairly new update. So
which is good to be able to do that. So you can hold that time and call it as busy using tasks. I need to use tasks a little bit more. I'm still kind of paper pencil on some things, just for my organization, the way my brain works. I just need to start using Google Tasks.
Yeah, I like tasks because you can open it right in the sidebar of whatever Google thing you're working on. And then I like it because you can check them off, and it draws a strike through, just like you would with a paper list. So, I hate paper. So that's maybe why I gravitate more towards that.
Yeah, there's been some things in tasks that I like to do subtasks of a major task. And I haven't quite figured that out yet, how to do that, but because that's just the way that my brain works.
Yes.
on those things.
Yes. Okay. So now we're going to go back to some Gemini updates. This was a small one, but I think for visually to know which account you're working in, your organization's logo will now appear in the Gemini app when you're working in Gemini. And I always look up there, when I had an organization account to be sure which account I was in. So it'll be next to your user's profile picture in Gemini when you are using your education account.
Yeah, having that logo there that is tied to your domain, so you're able to see that, so that you do know, okay, I'm in school's domain. Here's some things I can do, and here's some things I can't do as well with that.
Yeah. All right, so NotebookLM has had some updates, video overviews. So now in NotebookLM, you can create a video overview. So remember, the audio overviews was the podcast that came out and people were all like, oh, this is so cool. Well, now you can do little video overviews in NotebookLM, and those are now available for users of all ages. So if you have NotebookLM turned on for your students would be able to create a video overview.
And a couple of weeks ago, they added a couple of new pieces to that studio over there, along with the audio, the video, the flashcards, and the quizzes. They have added infographics and slide decks. So whenever you upload information in there, you can create an infographic or a slide deck from that. I've tried this out a little bit with some things that we do here at ESU 7 and created. We have a service planning process for our schools, and they fill out a document. I looked at last year's and created an infographic and a slide deck off of all of last year's. Then I went into a specific school, created one, and say, hey, do it in these colors. Oh. So you can even put a color in and say, I want my red to be this hex code color, my gray to be this hex code color. And it does it. So you can tell it also the style and the coloring that you want in the presentation or infographic as well.
Now, I did not think of that, but man, I could have done Panther Maroon or Lakeview Blue or, Discover Maroon. Since I'm in Columbus today, I will give a nod to the Discoverers. So that's good. Now, I tried the slide deck feature, and it will create a presentation. One of the things that I always got questions about from teachers is, which AI tool can I use to create presentations, right? And there really wasn't a great one out there, I didn't think, to do that. Well, now you can do it in Gemini. In the Canvas portion of Gemini, you can create a slide deck based on a topic. You can upload resources, and it will create that presentation based on those resources. But what I like about it is that then you can export it to slides. Yeah,
that's one thing I think Gemini has above NotebookLM right now, in that when you create the slide deck in NotebookLM, it's only as a PDF.
I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. I was excited about the slide deck.
That's fine.
Right, we were talking about NotebookLM and things you could do in NotebookLM. Yeah, but, and I switched over to Canvas.
Which is fine too, because that way you have a couple places you can go and look and create some of those things, because you can even upload the same document into Gemini and say, hey, Canvas, I want you to create this in Canvas for me, and then export it to slides. So you do have the slideshow presentation.
Right.
Whereas in NotebookLM, it creates those infographics and that slide deck as a PDF. So that makes it a little difficult to edit or change yourself. Whereas if you're creating in Gemini, then you can go in and move some things around, add some things a little bit there and edit it.
That is my bad. I jumped off, but yeah, for Notebook
similar topic.
Yeah, absolutely. For NotebookLM, I mean, if your students have the ability to create notebooks, they could then take your notes that you would give them and create a slide deck from the notes in NotebookLM. Do we have on our notes? Do we have about creating presentations? Am I just imagining that?
No, that's on the bottom. It's right down. It's 4 down. It's the 4th one down from the NotebookLM.
Okay. So we'll get okay. Well, should we?
Let's just go there.
Okay. All right.
We're good at jumping around.
I thought it was on here.
People know that from us. We can't stay on topic, and we go more than our half hour.
Okay. So that was the updates in NotebookLM. Video overviews are now available to all users. You can create infographics and slide decks within the Studio resources pane. Before we go on to the presentations in Gemini, maybe let's just hit the flash, or that's a Gemini also. Never mind, Gemini. We're going to do that. Okay, so those are available in NotebookLM. But what I was talking about was generating presentations within the Gemini app. So you can create slide presentations in the Gemini app using Canvas. And remember, in the Gemini app, there's other tools that are part of that. So Canvas, not the learning management system, but Canvas as part of Gemini, allows you to create things, right? And so now you can actually create slide presentations. So you can give it a prompt, say, I need to create a presentation on animal habitats for 3rd grade, whatever it is. Or what I like to do instead is upload a document that has the information that I want the presentation, that I want to be included. If you just put the prompt in and put in a topic, you're kind of at liberty of whatever Gemini picks out to include in that presentation. If you upload a source document, then it's going to stick to that source document to create the presentation. And then Gemini will create the presentation, and the presentation has both text and images that Gemini has pulled from sources. These are not, in my experience, they were not AI created images. They are pulling images from the web. And what I really like about this is that then after Gemini creates it, there's an export to slides option. You can put it into slides and you can further update and change, modify, add to the presentation that was created in Canvas.
Yeah, and in your prompt, to really make sure it sticks with your content that you upload, say, stay with the content that I upload, don't use any other sources. That way it really does stay with your content there, and it doesn't go and say, all right, this is missing, I'm going to go pull from off over here. But you still have the ability, as Mickie said, to go back in and edit those things and change them as you need it. As well.
Yeah, no. So when this came out a couple of weeks ago, I did do a tutorial video on this process. So I will include a link to that video in the show notes.
Yeah. So now that you can create presentations, you can also create flashcards in Gemini. So they're going to need to use Canvas as well to create those flashcards, uploading whatever document you want for your flashcards. Maybe it's a spreadsheet that has the vocabulary word and the definition, the state and the capital, the country and the capital, whatever it might be, and then have Gemini create those flashcards or create flashcards to study for a semester test, since semester tests are coming up here in the next week or so. But if students don't have the access to that, teachers can create them and then give them to the students as well to be able to use.
Yeah, so if you wanted your students to create flashcards, they would have to have access to Gemini in order to be able to do that. If your students don't have access to Gemini, it's just as easy for you to do that. And what I really like about this, so we're talking about vibe coding. Mm-hmm. This is what we're talking about now, is vibe coding. So not only can you do flashcards, but if you wanted Gemini or Canvas in Gemini to create a simple web page, about a topic or a project that you have upcoming, it could do that. You don't have to know anything about HTML, CSS, you nothing, Java, nothing. Gemini will do that for you. And then you can simply copy the HTML code, start a new Google site, and embed that HTML code, and there's your web page. Couldn't be easier. And you don't, I remember one of the first things that I did when I was in teaching back in Ainsworth. That's where I started. ESU 17, when the building was still downtown.
It still is.
One of the first classes that I ever took was HTML. And so the first web pages that I ever made were in HTML. So I geek out on HTML. But what Canvas is doing, it's including some of the newer HTML things that I never learned about, and it will create the HTML for you. You don't even have to know what it says, right? You simply copy the code, put it into a Google site, and there, voila, there's your site. And so I love this flashcard idea, because one of the things that I had teachers ask me all the time is, where can I do, what site can I use for flashcards? Because Quizlet was great for flashcards, and still until they put it behind a paywall and they started really narrowing down what you could do on the free version. And so this way you can create your own cards, and you can have a Google site that you just share with your students, and you embed the new flashcards on the site, and your students can go to that website and practice their flashcards.
Yeah, that's going to be very helpful for them to be able to do that, so that they're there. You have that resource that's already there, done for you, and it makes it a lot easier than having to go out and create flashcards or get them copied off or worry about students losing them. They're right there on a website for the students to be able to use.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that I really like about this Canvas in Gemini is when you put the prompt in and Canvas starts working, it'll kind of show you what it's doing while it's doing it, and it spits out this code. You'll have an option to preview, to show the code, or to preview what the code is doing. Now, this preview button, in my experience, and the only reason why I haven't done a video on this yet is because I cannot get the preview button to show up continuously. Like, it's random when it will show and when it won't. So if you don't have the option to preview the code that Gemini has built, you have to copy it, paste it into a Google site, test it out. If it doesn't work, you have to come back to Gemini. But when you have the preview option, it will show you what that looks like within Gemini. And then you can switch back. If there's something that you didn't like, you can reprompt it to fix whatever it was that you didn't like, preview it, and you can go back and forth doing your vibe coding right within Canvas. And so the only reason I haven't done a video on this yet is because I can't get that preview button to show all the time. And I don't know why. And I don't know if anybody else has experienced that or it's just me. And I've tried it both on my demo account and I've tried it on my personal account, and it's just random. So I don't know if it's maybe because I'm not paying for it and there's a limit that I'm hitting and it's not showing that preview button. I don't know. But as soon as I can get that to show consistently, I will create a video showing you how to create flashcards in Canvas and then copy the code into a Google site.
Yeah, having that, being able to use Gemini to do some of your coding, if you don't have coding experience, which many elementary teachers and even most secondary teachers, depending on their major, do not have. The last coding class I took was my freshman year in college, C++. Ooh. That's an old, if you know C++, then yeah. So having that right there, that AI can help you with that to create some of those things, whether it is coding flashcards, coding a website, coding a game, coding whatever, it's there. Yeah, it can help you out.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be flashcards. It could be a matching game if you wanted to do that. You can prompt Gemini to do that for you as well. So that is a cool new feature in Gemini. Let's see. We just talked about presentations. I was just kind of going through to see if there's anything else, if we want to stay with the Gemini stuff or we'll come back to it. Well, let's just keep going down the agenda. Yeah. So, okay, finally, if you're a Google Meet user, this is a long-awaited, requested update. So, I think one of the things that people like Zoom, Zoom and Meet, what is it? What the kids say? 6, 7? Is that 6, 7? Is that it?
Square root of 4489.
One of the things that people like about Zoom over Meet is the fact that you had the waiting room feature within Zoom. Well, now Google Meet also has the waiting room feature that you can allow your participants to enter a waiting room and then you control when they join the Meet. However, this is only available on the paid version. So if you have Ed Plus or Teaching and Learning Upgrade, you have that ability in Google Meet.
Yeah, waiting rooms are nice. And I'm going to kind of give an example. And you may have seen it in what we're doing right now. We have Zoom rooms at ESU 7. And we are in the midst of Santa DL visits at ESU 7.
Oh,
so
do tell.
We have 4 days. Santa Claus comes into ESU 7. And he Zooms to 32 classrooms, 8 each day, 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. And we have them come into a waiting room until Santa is ready. And then they come into the room and see Santa for PK through second grade students. And just seeing those kids' faces when they see Santa pop up on their teacher's screen, whether they knew it or not, just seeing their faces, and Santa talks to them for about 25 minutes, gets to talk to each student. They send in letters. It's one of our fun times of the year. When he came last Wednesday, Santa, hey, I know him, kind of thing going on that. So we really do enjoy doing that for our schools here at ESU 7. This year's last few years, over 600 kids. I think we're around 620 kids Santa's going to visit with this year. So, that could be something, not only Zoom, but if you want to work something out with somebody who's a Santa that maybe can't come into your school, if you do that, either setting up a Zoom or a Google Meet where he comes in via Zoom, where his name is Santa and North Pole is the room name, so that it comes in there, and to be able to visit that with maybe a background is the workshop. We can't, last couple of years, we've had a black background because Zoom rooms don't allow you to do a background for some reason.
Well, that's a bummer.
I know prior to that, we did have a background, but have Santa come in via Google Meet, or maybe one of Santa's elves come in via Google Meet, to be able to do that. So that's something that you could use there as an idea to use Meet.
Yeah. Okay, so not a lot happening with Google Classroom on this particular set of updates. I anticipate the BET conference is Europe's version of ISTE. Even though ISTE is an international conference, BET, which is in London in January, is their big technology conference. And I anticipate there will be some Google Classroom announcements there. Not a lot of Google Classroom announcements on this one, but one that we do have is that educators can now convert rubrics in Google Classroom from Drive or local files with the help of Gemini. And so you can take a rubric that you already have in Drive or a local file and add that to a Google Classroom assignment, and Gemini will take that rubric and convert it into a classroom rubric. I personally did not try this, but it is available.
It's there. It's good to do and to have there. So if you don't have to recreate the wheel yourself, it's right there. It'll convert it right to the classroom rubric that's right in there.
All right, we already talked about generating presentations in Gemini. A new addition to Gemini Deep Research is that it now integrates with your workspace content. So you can add content from Gmail, Chat, Drive, Docs, Sheets, and Slides can all be added into a Deep Research search.
Now, if you don't know what Deep Research is, in Gemini, it goes and it scours the web. It takes a lot longer to come up with a document. And it is an extensive document that it will come up with, like a 16-page research paper, where it's pulling from many, many resources across the internet. I've even tried this one time where I only want peer-reviewed content, and it pulls in just peer-reviewed content on it. So it is more doing a research paper-ish type than just real quick, let me get some resources to it. So being able to also add in your content from there with research that maybe you've already done, with more research from the web that kind of goes back and forth, can be helpful.
Yeah, because Deep Research is only going to search the web. It didn't have the ability to search your own files, but now you can connect the two.
And not only is Deep Research is in Gemini, they also have a version. It's called something different, and I can never remember what the difference is between the two. They have a version of it in NotebookLM as well. Nope, sorry, that's the guided learning. Never mind.
I wasn't sure.
It's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday.
Okay. Sticking with our AI updates, Gemini 3 Pro was introduced very recently. In order to access Gemini 3 Pro, you have to switch to the thinking option from the drop-down menu. So this is Gemini's newest, latest version. And I was going to pull that up. And again, you have to have Gemini either on in order for you to be able to access this. So when you access Gemini, what are the other versions that you can pick from? Because this might be changed by now.
I have Fast and Thinking with Pro 3.
Yes. Yes. So Fast, if you want that answer quick, like you're doing a traditional search, you would probably choose Fast. But if it's a more complex topic, then you can turn on Thinking. And that's the newest, latest, and greatest model from Gemini.
Yeah. And if you have that, you're probably still going to have some limits if you don't have the Pro version on that as well.
Yes. Okay. The VO 3.1 will allow you to create clips from images in Google Vids. Now, I haven't tried this. I don't know if I have. Actually, it's only available for Ed Plus and Teaching and Learning Upgrade for a limited time. So some of these newer, higher powered AI features, they are giving education access to these, but only for a limited time. So some of these features will be available, they've said at least through May 31st, 2026. So to the end of this school year, basically, if you're in the United States. What you can do with this is it will create 8-second video clips. You choose up to 3 images, you write a prompt, and VO and Vids will generate the clip. So for example, if you were, doing marketing or advertising for a coffee shop, you could say a picture. You could pick a picture of a woman, a coffee cup, and maybe some kind of a background, and put in the prompt, show the woman slowly drinking coffee. The coffee is steaming, whatever it was, and it would meld those 3 images together with that prompt to create a little 8-second video clip.
Yeah. So creating that out there so that, maybe you're wanting to teach something or show something or have something in your presentation that is a quick video
that you just can't find anywhere on the web for free. You can just make one.
Or you don't want to make yourself.
Right. So, but again, you need the Education Plus or the Teaching and Learning Upgrade in order to access that particular option.
Yep. Nano Banana.
You know what? I love that name.
Yeah.
And it was, from what I read, it was like Google was working on something and it was late at night and they needed a placeholder for what to call this. And somebody just randomly picked Nano Banana and they stuck with it. I know. I love it.
That's what happens. I don't think great things like that come when you're working late and delirious. But Nano Banana Pro is now in Slides, Vids, Gemini, and NotebookLM. So creating Nano Banana is the image creation tool within Gemini. So creating those images, so being there where it's being able to pull right in from Slides. You don't have to go to Gemini. It's going to be right there in Slides. But in Slides, you need the AI Pro add-on.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You're going to need the AI Pro add-on there. Vids, it's available in Ed Plus and TNL for a limited time, once again through May 31st. But it's in the Gemini app and NotebookLM for Google Workspace.
Yeah, and some of these newer, higher-powered features that they're rolling out, actually, they had so many users trying to hit it at once that they kind of had to claw it back a little bit and release it a little bit slower. So if you don't see it yet, if you're on one of those versions and you don't see it yet, keep checking.
Yeah, it's just, as we've always talked about, there's that rollout schedule, whether it's a rapid release or a scheduled release over time, and they slowly roll it out for people to access.
Okay, so NotebookLM, you may have seen that if you go to NotebookLM, you have access to public notebooks, and there's some great ones in there. Google actually partnered with OpenStax. And OpenStax is a leading provider of free peer-reviewed textbooks to create notebooks. And so there's Biology 2E, which I don't know what that means, but I'm just reading from what the information Google put out. Biology for AP, psychology 2E, chemistry 2E, intro to business, principles of management. So these are like AP courses or maybe entry-level college courses, I'm thinking. Anyway, they had created these notebooks and you were able to access them, but they could not be assigned through, because they were public. These are public notebooks. They could not be assigned through Google Classroom. Well, guess what? Now they can. So for example, I know I was a former business teacher. Maybe I want to take that intro to business book because I'm teaching intro to business, and maybe it is the college version of intro to business. If I have that intro to business OpenStax textbook, I could assign that public notebook through Google Classroom now.
Yeah, and OpenStax, leading provider, as Mickie said, provider of free peer-reviewed textbooks. So that's that. If you've heard of OER, Open Educational Resources, they have a lot of open educational resources, and one of those that's out there. Yeah, now I lost OER Commons.
Oh, yes.
There we go. Along with OER Commons. It's Tuesday. Yeah. It's a Monday of Tuesdays. So having those out there and having those free options to at least use as a possible another resource for teachers if you're needing to find them that are peer reviewed, so you know that they have been vetted and are probably good instructional materials.
Yeah, so that is a new option. So I'm going to skip this next one because I want to spend some time on this, and we'll go down to the last couple of things we have on there. As of yesterday, there is now a more modern interface for viewing PDFs in videos, images, and audio files in Google Drive on the web. I noticed when I went, I had opened a PDF from Drive, and it even came up with a new banner, and it has kind of some, the PDF viewer in Drive has really been kind of lacking. And so now this is a newer, more modern interface for viewing PDFs in Drive.
Makes it a lot easier. Yeah. A lot easier on the eyes.
Yeah. Google has also released some ready-to-use AI prompts for teaching. These are similar to the prompts that you will find in Google Classroom, the Gemini prompts that are already preloaded in there. But there are several different prompts that are here. And if you go to, for example, you can create questions across depth of knowledge levels. And you can, when you go there, you can ask Gemini. It will open up a new Gemini window. It will load that prompt in there. You can see the prompt. And it will run that Gemini chat. You can make changes to that prompt. You can edit it. And when you click on these, and we'll include this link in the show notes, but you'll see how detailed this prompt is. I mean, it's more so than what I think most people are going to put in when they prompt Gemini or whatever tool you're using. But these are some that Google has created. And like I said, they're very similar to what you see, the Gemini tools within Google Classroom. But there's several, there's planning, instructional materials, assessments, administrative tasks, quite a few different prompts in here that you can use from Gemini.
Well, this gives you as teachers a place to start. If you're like, okay, how do I want to do this, but I don't know what prompt I should write. It's giving you that template there to be able to do it. So you're not having to write a prompt, adjust it as you need. It's still going to save you a lot of time in not only creating those all yourself, but time in, all right, here's the prompt I want. No, now I want to do this. Now I want to do this. It's maybe going to cut from 15 to 20 questions afterwards down to 4 or 5, which is also going to save you time in the long run as well.
Yeah. Okay. This is something, I don't know if I stumbled across this, if it was in like the last Google update or what, but it's learn something new every month with YouTube. And so you go to YouTube, and this is an AI feature built within YouTube is what I think it is, but they'll give you some topics. So like this month, the topics are how to produce music, basics of graphic design, how to build my own video game, how to be an effective communicator. And so you can take one of their prompts that they have already selected, or you can put something in. Like if you wanted to learn how to play guitar, you could type in, how can I play guitar? And basically what this will do is it'll use AI to go out across all of YouTube and find videos associated with whatever it is that you're wanting to learn.
Which is going to be helpful. Rather than you trying to do it, it's curating it yourself. You could even have students do this if they have access to it and it's turned on for your students to be able to do.
And I see that there is, after you learn, you can actually take a quiz, test your knowledge. So it'll come up with a little video and then an AI generated quiz based on the contents of the video.
To make sure you help you learn, or at least give you ways to look for those questions as kind of, oh, this is what they're thinking is important.
Yeah. So that is available on YouTube. And again, we'll include a link to this on the show notes. And then one other thing we wanted to mention. Now, we love it when you all watch us.
Yes, we do.
But there's some really great sessions, EDU on Air, that Google for Education has put together. I try to send out a reminder when those sessions are coming up, or I'll send the link to the recordings after the sessions. But there are 3 more sessions yet that are coming up this week. There is one today. And that is Gemini for Education updates for IT admins. So this would be for your IT admins. If you have access to the admin console, that might be something that you would want to watch. We have tomorrow is Gemini AI features you didn't know you needed. And this one is done by the folks from Fried Tech. If you're familiar with Fried Tech, I love their Google presentations. I think they do the best job out of any of the presenters that Google has for these sessions. So that is tomorrow. And then on Thursday is Unmissable 2025 product highlights. So kind of a year-in wrap-up from the Google team. All
good sources, and be on there. Make sure that if you're not on the GEG listserv, request to be accessed and put in there why you're accessing. Otherwise, Mickie and I say, no, you can't belong.
Yeah.
Even though I accidentally unsubscribed last week and had to resubscribe. I don't know how I did that.
So truth time. I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And I have 2 accounts that I'm signed up for. Thankfully, both of them are moderator accounts. So it wasn't just you. And I actually had a request from a couple of different people that did the same thing. So I don't know what it was, but I accidentally unsubscribed. So
yeah, it happens. We even do it too. We even mess up.
Yes. So those are the final Google EDU and EDU on Air sessions for this year, and there will be more coming next month. But if you don't get those, because they usually try and do them at Central Time, they're usually about 12, like from 12 to 12:30, which is lunch, if you can view on your lunch, but they record them and then they post them at that same website. You can go back and view them whenever. So maybe you missed a bunch of them from this year. Maybe that's something you want to do over your holiday break, is watch some of those videos back. Like I said, the folks at Fried Tech, I think personally do the best job out of all of the session presenters for that. So I wouldn't miss their sessions.
Yeah.
All right, so there's one last thing that we wanted to talk about that I want to spend some time on, because I think this is a really important update and something you need to be aware of. And that is agentic AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is new coming around, which not only can affect and help you out, but can also not be good for younger audiences who may have a hard time making friends.
Well, so
some of it.
Yeah, some of it, right. So when we're talking about agentic AI, what we're talking about is autonomous artificial intelligence systems that can plan, reason, and act independently to achieve goals with minimal human oversight. Okay, so this has been talked about for quite a while, but we're now seeing it being put into the products that we're using on a daily basis. So for example, non-education use. Let's say I needed to plan a trip to Washington, D.C. I have the dates that I need to go, and I don't have time to figure out the flight. Okay, and I don't want to use a travel agent, whatever. So with agentic AI, what I can do is ask the AI to find a flight I can put as many specifics as I want, from Omaha to Washington, D.C., minimal layovers, dates, times, whatever. I can put in all of that information. But basically, I'm going to turn that task over to the AI. and it's going to find the flight. And if I'm feeling brave, I can allow it to book the flight for me. Okay, so that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. It's doing it on its own, no oversight or minimal oversight from me.
Yes, and one of the things where this is coming up a lot as well too is the Microsoft Work Trends Report for 2025 talks about the agentic working as the human kind of managing all of these different AI agents to do some work. It's not going to take over everything, but it may make some jobs redundant because of how quickly and how easily it does. They're still going to need people to manage them.
Yes.
You still need people to manage them, but also how many Mickie might be able to manage 3 or 4 of these agents. I might only be able to manage 1 or 2. Somebody else may be able to manage 10 or 12. So going through some of that, making some of those tasks, those redundant, repetitive tasks, helping to automate that,
yes,
and make it a little bit easier so that we can go out and you as humans can go out and do the customer service, face-to-face, client relation kinds of things.
Right. So basically these agents can reason through problems. They can adapt to new information. They can tackle complex workflows such as prioritization. So which things should be done in which order. They can support issue triage. They can do smart approvals, content generation, and sentiment analysis. Again, you describe what you want in plain language. For example, every Friday, ping me to update my tracker. And Gemini, or whatever agentic tool you're using, will create it. And so every Friday, it will contact you with what you need to update for the next week. Okay. This will be a core service under your Google Workspace. This will be part of Google Workspace Studio is what we're talking about. This is what Google is choosing to call this. Google Workspace Studio is a core service, and it will be on by default based on your organization's release preference for new products. So if you're on rapid release, you'll get it as soon as it comes out. If you're on extended or slow, is it extended? Scheduled release, you'll get it when it's ready to roll out.
2 to 3. It's usually 2 to 3 weeks after a rapid release.
So Workspace customers on all eligible editions will get promotional access to higher usage limits, allowing users to further experiment with these features. So when it first rolls out, you're not going to get hit by a limit and it won't be able to go any far. You're going to get those higher usage limits at the beginning. Usage may be subject to change to ensure a consistent and high quality experience for all users. And I think that Google has seen this in the last couple of releases that they've done, whether it's Nano Banana or VO. So many people have been trying to use it at once that they're getting hit with limits. Like you can't use this anymore today, or you have to wait for an hour or whatever for it to reset. And so you may be subject to those limits. And then this is users under the age of 18 will not be able to create agents with Gemini AI or use AI-powered steps in agents. Okay, so why I wanted to put this in here. Google is not the first company to release agentic AI. They're actually a little slow to do this, which I don't think is bad. Perplexity is another AI tool that we've talked about that is used by lots of people. I've used it occasionally, not a lot, but I know what it is. But a few weeks ago, Perplexity released the Comet AI agent browser and made it free for students. Okay. Perplexity is really targeting college students with this, but it doesn't take anybody to see, when you see the power of what this can do, that high school students wouldn't want to grab onto this as well. Yeah. All right, so for example, what you could do with this browser and what I have seen people do, you could say, please log into Canvas for me and complete all the assignments due today. Okay, and it will do it. So you have to give it your login credentials, but other than that, putting in that prompt, it will complete any assignment in Canvas. So an instructor, a college professor in California, her name is Anna Mills. She's done a lot of research on AI and student writing. She's a writing instructor. She's somebody who's great to follow. She has created a video that shows the Perplexity Comet AI agent browser going into a Canvas class and completing assignments. Okay. So I'm not trying to alarm you, but I want you to be aware that this is where things are heading. Now, I have not seen anything with Google Classroom and having an agentic browser complete assignments in Google Classroom, but I'm assuming if it's possible in Canvas, it's possible in Classroom.
It possibly is. And this is something that, as Mickie said, not wanting to alarm you, but knowing that this could be happening, the best recourse is teaching the students how to use it properly. And once again, it comes back to not sharing your credentials online because somebody else could get in to do that, could get into their accounts, could hack them, especially if they're using the same password for a bunch of things. So just being very careful that this is out there, knowing how your students write, how they talk, how they act, how they turn things in. That's also going to be yours for this, but it's there and making things easier.
So I think Google has done the right thing by limiting this Google Workspace Studio to 18 and over, so students don't have access to this on their personal account. But Perplexity did not take the same stance and gave the Comet and is available for free. The Comet AI agent browser is available for free for students. And I would imagine that high school students could access it as well. So agentic AI has the power to do some really cool things, but just like anything, put into the wrong hands, it can do some bad things as well.
Yeah, and that in talking about this, where it's students log into Canvas for me and complete all the assignments due today, it reminded me there is a Chrome extension that can maybe give a little bit of control, not a Chrome extension, but a Google Docs extension to helping students know what is proper use for AI during assignment. But then they also turn it in saying, this is what I used for the assignment. That extension in Google Docs is called AI Trust You. So for teachers, you select from 4 AI technique categories: content creation, content understanding, research assistant, and audio video generation, and specify how students are allowed to use AI on a particular assignment. This generates a guideline for students and then puts it into the Google Doc that you then share with the students. Now the students put this in as well, and then they select what tool or tools they used to identify those techniques and the percentage and how much they used it. If I'm remembering correctly, Laguna Beach Unified School District is the one that made this up, and they've put it out for everybody to use. I've linked it in our document that we'll put in the show notes as well, so that you can go and add that in. But it's a nice little deal that it pops it right in for the teacher, saying, here's what you can use, here's how you can use it. Students put it in, here's what I've used, here's how much I used AI on this.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I do remember hearing about that earlier. And I think this all goes back to if you're not talking about AI with your students, you really should be. Just because you're not talking about it doesn't mean they're not using it. And I think that we really have to get to the point where we're helping our students understand when is an appropriate use and when it isn't. But if you're not talking about it at all, that's not the way to go.
Yeah.
So, and as fast as things have been moving, I actually think things have slowed down quite a bit since November of 2022, when things were just coming at us right and left. But this agentic, the ability for the AI to be agentic and do things on its own is something that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, this is just the next step in digital citizenship of telling kids how to properly use the content. It was, how do we properly use computers and act online? How do we properly use social media? Now it's, how do we properly use AI, agentic AI, whatever the next iteration of AI or technology that comes out as well.
Yeah. So Anna Mills is the professor that I mentioned. I'll try and link her contact information. She has a blog that she's really great about sharing things, but she's a good follow as far as someone who's in the trenches trying to deal with how AI has impacted her classroom.
Yeah. Well, as usual, we plan for 30 minutes and we go an hour. But that's Otis and Mickie. And that is through our agenda, even with some addition, even with the late addition.
Yes, yes.
In there as well.
Yeah. So we'll make sure you look at the description where we'll put the show notes, and we'll link some of the blogs and things that we talked about in those show notes. And we will be back probably sometime this winter with another update. We'll probably wait until after BET in January for sure, because I'm assuming there'll be some classroom updates at that time. And hopefully they won't be all AI. I mean, there's other things that could be improved in Google Classroom besides just packing more AI into it.
But, you know, that's the world we're in. And whether you listen to us on one-time speed, half speed, double time, whatever it is, we hope you join us next time. And if you want to come on and talk Google AI, whatever it is, please let us know. We'd love to have somebody on here to chat with us, how you use these things in your classroom as well. Please join us.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you. So as we are in December of 2025, and hopefully you guys all have, you know, just maybe 2 weeks left before your break, and hopefully you get a nice long break. Please take some time to regenerate because if you're not good, you're not going to be good for your students. So take that time, connect with your family, have a great holiday, lots to eat and good food and good family and good friends, and regenerate yourself before school starts again in January.
As I always like to say, have a happy and a merry.
Yes. So thank you, everybody. We will see you again next time.